Hey, welcome to 10 at 10. Last time we left off with Joshua in a leadership mess. We left him with all kinds of obstacles that he was going to have to accomplish. For the sake of those who have not already watched the previous 10 at 10s, we're going to go ahead and we're going to read verse 8 and verse 9 of Joshua 1. And then we're going to go through some of the things that Joshua faced as a brand new leader. And then we're going to finish up this story. Verse 8 says, "Do not let this book of the law depart from your mouth. Meditate on it day and night, so that you may be careful to do everything written in it. Then you will be successful, prosperous and successful. Have I not commanded you? Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." Now, we discussed in the last 10 at 10, there were some major things that led up to going into Jericho and marching around it. And oftentimes we focus on that. But there were a lot of leadership obstacles. There were a lot of things that Joshua walked through that were the first time they were walking through as a nation. And here he is, the new leader. So number one was Moses is dead. He has been the leader for 80 years. Anytime someone spoke bad about Moses, God got involved. And usually they died. So that's a pretty significant stamp of approval on whatever Moses says, let's do it. Now Joshua is the new leader. And, there might have been a little bit of rumblings here or there of, or even just the thought processes. I wonder if Joshua's going to measure up to Moses. I wonder if he really has leadership qualities, capabilities. I wonder if he hears the voice of God like Moses heard. So here are some of the things that happened to Joshua, and I would say probably the first month of his leadership. Moses dies. They cannot find Moses' body because God buried him in the mountains. And so the leader of leaders, they can't even find the body for the children of Israel, for the nation to give a proper memorial. He's just gone. Two of the tribes, before Moses dies, negotiate with Moses to not even go into the promised land. So now, instead of having 12 tribes go in, now only 10 tribes are going to go in. And 2 tribes are going to stay out. So it kind of looks like it might be a little bit of division going on there. Possibly rumors are going around that Joshua can't keep the group together. Then the crossing of the Jordan River, which was a natural barrier. It was a major river. It wasn't just a little stream. It was big enough that the priests were instructed by Joshua, who was instructed by God. The priest marched out into the water carrying the Ark of the Covenant. And again, I would have to think that at least one of the priests is thinking, what happens if I slip? What happens if I'm the one that causes this Ark of the Covenant to be lost? And then Joshua might be thinking, what happens if one of the guys slips? How am I going to recover leadership in my first month? How am I going to recover from that one, the Ark of the Covenant being lost? But that's not all of it. Once they get to the other side and they set up camp in the other side, God instructs Joshua to circumcise all of the males of Israel. And they're like, what? This meant that now the children of Israel are in enemy territory, and they're going to be laid up for however long it takes to recover from a circumcision. Now, we know with babies, it's a very short process. I don't know how long it takes for a man. I don't even really want to know. But I can tell you that from a military standpoint, that was the worst place to have a circumcision. Couldn't we have done this sometime in the 40 years while we were in the wilderness? Joshua, you must be crazy. But Joshua is following God's commands. Then while they're in the camp, the manna runs out. It no longer is falling from the sky. And you know that in 2 or 3 million people, there had to be some people that really liked the manna. And they were thinking, what has Joshua brought us to? I know we've got all of these new foods in the land of the promised land, but man, I really liked my manna. I really liked the bread that we could make with the manna. I just really wish, just that grumbling that the old stuff was better than the new stuff, because I haven't really gotten acquainted with the new stuff yet. That had to be going on. Then we even run into the aspect of all of the Jericho aspect, where God tells them, march around one time a day for 6 days. Don't say a thing. Then on the 7th day, march around 7 times. And then I'll give you the instruction. And then everyone starts screaming and yelling, blowing the horns. And that is just like, that's really, it's kind of like military stupidity. Because you're letting the enemy know where you are. But the key to this whole thing that I've been building up to is the end of verse 9. For the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go. Now, the first part of verse 9 says, be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged. Now, in our own strength, that seems like an impossibility. But when we remember that God is with us and that God is the one who fights our battles, then it is so much easier for me to move forward in what God has told me to do. It doesn't mean that it takes away all of the apprehension. I still have to do it, even though my mind might be going, oh man, this is a new gate. This is a new thing. God, are you sure circumcision? That's going to put all the fighting men down for 7, 10 days, however many days. We could lose the war before we even get started. God, the manna running out, we haven't even collected food yet. We're not even in a place of battle yet. But when you know that God is with you, when you know that God has brought water out of a rock, when you know that God has brought manna, when you know that God has brought you across the Jordan on dry ground, when you know that there has been a cloud by day and a pillar of fire by night, when you know that that God is with you, wherever you go, whatever he has spoken to you to do, you can be strong and courageous. And you don't need to let discourage overtake you, because God is with you wherever you go. Now that could be God is giving you a word about your body. That could be that God is giving you a word about your relationships. That could be that God is giving you a word about your finances. That could be that God is taking you in a new direction in this middle part of 2021. but know that God is with you. So you don't have to be discouraged. You don't have to be terrified. You can be strong and courageous. So I just wanted to encourage you today. Let's move forward in power. Let's move forward understanding that God is in front of us. He is behind us. He is beside us. He is for us. He is not against us. We can accomplish whatever is set before us. Let's go up. Let's dream big, and let's make a difference. God bless and have a great day.